Welcome to the Healthcare Provider Happy Hour. This is a safe space where we invite healthcare providers to unapologetically be themselves after the working day. My name is Jennifer George, and each week I will connect you with guests and stories that will help transform your stress to success and fulfillment. Are you with me? Grab your drink of choice and let's chat. Hey everyone, welcome to the Healthcare Provider Happy Hour. I'm your host, Jennifer George, and I'm joining you today to chat with you a little bit about being on the receiving end of expanding your mindset and receiving good energy in order to put it back out into the world. You know, sometimes when you're a growth seeker like myself, it can become really frustrating. You can hit a wall and you can feel frustrated by not expanding yourself in some way. And I know that for me recently, that's something I've been experiencing and going through. And one of the things I chatted about with Sam Thiara last week, if you've listened to that podcast, was on finding an outlet. And as we were chatting, it had dawned on me that going to the gym at 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m., that was my outlet. And then when COVID hit, I stopped doing that and I had to find a way to stay active within my own home, which is actually a condominium, which is much harder. So you can imagine going from outdoors to a gym to just being restricted to a condo. And one of the things that I was doing and have been doing for a little while now is going out for a run, at least on the weekends. So I've been doing that because time allows for it. It's safer to go at the time I go at, based on where I live. So that's just something that I've learned to accept and I've learned to just run with and give the best energy possible to. So if you are finding yourself in a position where you're feeling stuck, where you're feeling like you don't know which direction to go in, or where you're feeling like your creativity is blocked, you might want to consider engaging in an outlet that helps you to be on the receiving end rather than on the end of always producing, right, and creating. And so this is kind of something that I basically thought about while I was on my run today that I'm sharing with you. So first of all, when you're engaging in this outlet, you want to just first release yourself to it. Okay, so you might have a little thing that you do, like when I go out for my run, the first thing I do as I'm starting to jog is I make the sign of the cross and I smile, and that's my way of just being, okay, and then receiving. So then when you're in your activity or whatever it is your outlet might be, and you're finding joy, it's really important that when you find this outlet that it brings you joy. Okay, that it doesn't bring you stress, that it doesn't bring you worry or anxiety, that it actually uplifts you. So when you're in that presence of joy or that high, whatever it might be, you want to be grateful for it, okay, because now you're aware of it. Okay, so you're finding gratitude in it. And the energy of gratitude is very expansive, right? So when you start to feel grateful for the fact that, you know, you are in this element, you then can start imagining things because they're just coming to you. Images are coming to you. So some of the things that I think about when I'm on my run, or I shouldn't even say think about, but receive, images that I commonly will receive is, for example, my heart. I actually envision my heart being in front of me as I'm running, and I'm just following my heart. So that ends up being kind of a mantra for my day, for my life, is to follow my heart, to lead with my heart. And that's something that just comes to me. Okay. Another thing I think about, so if I'm thinking about work, maybe at the time, and I'm thinking about, you know, how much more can I give, right? How much more can I give? I picture my mom, and my mom is like 4'10", 11 maybe. She's very petite. And a while back, I bought her a reacher. Okay, I bought her a reacher to dig into the laundry machine, the washing machine, because it's a classic style. It's not the open facing one, it's down facing. So she can't actually reach her clothing at the bottom. So I bought her a reacher, and every time I have that image where I have to find it deeper within my heart to reach for something, to reach for more compassion, to reach for more empathy, to reach for more understanding, I actually picture my mom with her reacher reaching deeply for an article of clothing with the reacher. Okay, so these are images that just come to me and help me to expand myself where I'm at. Another thing while I'm on my run, for example, is my breath. Now, I know when people talk about meditation, they talk about like taking deep breaths. That doesn't work for me. Okay, when I have to concentrate on my breath, I can hyperventilate over it. And that can happen for some people. It's when I'm in a state of relaxed breathing that I actually feel better. If I have to focus on my breath, it actually gives me anxiety. Okay, and I don't know if this happens to you, but this is something that I've noticed with myself. So when I'm on my jog and I'm running, I try not to force my breath. I try to just let it be. And one of the things that I'm aware of now is that my breath will come. That deep breath will come, and then it just does. Okay, but if I put too much emphasis on it, if I try to create it, if I try to focus on it and I don't receive it, then I block it. Right? And then I get more short of breath than I really actually am. And the other thing I think about, this is another image that comes to me is when I'm thinking about the trail that I'm on from beginning to end. And this is something I sometimes do too if I'm going in and out of work or in and out of areas. I have little moments, like little landmarks, I guess you can say, where I either touch them or I'll, like if on my run, if I'm doing like a 5K run, I know that there are 4 landmarks that I have to get through. And then when I pass by them, I'm conscientious of them, and I'll open up my hands and I'll share the number 1 or the number 2, and that just keeps me grounded and centered on where I'm at. So when I talk about expansion, and when I talk about getting unstuck, and when I talk about the creative flow, and when I talk about things coming to us, it's not always a literal expansion. So if you are feeling frustrated and you're not really feeling I want to use the word successful for some reason, and I don't mean it by society's definition, but sometimes we can get caught up in that. And we're not thinking of that moment that we're in when we're receiving this type of energy that is so amazing and uplifts us. And we don't gravitate towards that. We block it because we're so busy trying to create, produce, and whatever else, okay, or achieve even. Then we're blocking so much good that can come to us. But if we just open ourselves up and just be ready to receive whatever comes our way, that's the energy that you want to be in. So that vibrational energy that you receive is so powerful. And then what you want to do when this happens, so when you go through this outlet and you have these images and these, I want to say ideas, they come to you, write them down the moment you can. That's when you write them down. If you force yourself to write them down before any of that happens, you might find yourself blocked. But if you engage in the outlet and you let it come to you, that's when you can write them down, right? You write down everything that just had happened or just transpired, and that will open you up to more. Okay, that is what will open you up to more. When I was engaging in my outlet of going to the gym every day, waking up at 5 a.m. and going, that I didn't realize it then, but that was my outlet. That's how I actually wrote my book. Like it was like one of the busiest times of my life, but yet I think the outlet itself of going to the gym, taking my mind off of everything else and just focusing on my movement and just being present to the sounds that I was hearing in the gym, like of iron and things like that, actually facilitated and allowed me to receive a creative energy and a motivation and an inspiration that allowed me to write my book and continue to write my book without stopping. So find your outlet. Your outlet shouldn't be something that, when we talk about self-care, your outlet shouldn't be something that you feel pressure to do, right? It's different, okay? It's something you look forward to do. It's something that doesn't take so much out of you or so much energy out of you, but rather allows you to just be uplifted by it, be attracted to it, and then, like I said, release yourself to it and allow your growth to happen where you stand. Only then, when we're happy or uplifted or joyful with where we're at, only then can we begin to transpire and transcend forward and even wider, right? We expand even more. Let me know what you think. Do you have an outlet? Do you have an outlet that facilitates upliftment, that facilitates joy, that brings out the best in you moving forward? I would love to hear about it. Let me know. On Instagram, you can DM me at bestobsessedwithjen, and that's where I'm most present. But you can also reach me on Facebook at Best Obsessed. You can also reach me on Twitter at JenGeorge08 or on LinkedIn under Jennifer George. And you can always go to my website and subscribe to my newsletters. My newsletters are along these lines sometimes, but they're also along the lines of healthcare specifically. This is just a podcast that I wanted to share with you that you could have for yourself. This is just something that you can give for yourself. Part of the reason why I started this Healthcare Provider Happy Hour podcast was to bring personal development to healthcare providers. It wasn't to bring clinical expertise and knowledge. That wasn't the point of it, because that's already out there, and I appreciate everything that other people are doing in that space. It's amazing. There's so much out there. This was more of your personal development space, okay? For you to take a little bit of what I learned and maybe apply it to your life if it does apply and if you're open to receiving it. So until we chat next time, remember to stay well and stay happy. So if you guys like this podcast, please subscribe and leave an honest review. Your feedback means everything to me. Your reviews are what moves this podcast forward, and I always appreciate receiving them. If you want to get a hold of me directly, reach out to me on social media. My handles are in the show notes, and you can always subscribe to my weekly newsletters at jennifergeorge.co so that we can stay connected. So until next time, thank you guys so much again for your ongoing support.